Joe, Oregon, the number one team in the land, takes on Wisconsin in a Big Ten matchup. I say that every time that we talk about Oregon because I still think it's crazy to say that they're in the Big Ten here. And not only that they lead it. Joe, looking into this game against Wisconsin, how do you see it playing out?
So at the beginning of the show, we pointed out potential upset opportunities for teams.
Don't you dare do it.
But this is not going to be one of them, Blake. Wisconsin, this team, offensively, the wheels are completely falling off the track. So much so, in this whole program, Jack Del Rio, we saw the news that he got arrested for the DUI today. He steps down from the program. I think that this Luke Fickell-led team has not played anywhere near up to expectation. I know that they dealt with an early injury to, oh my God, what's my guy's name, the quarterback that I don't like?
Tyler Van Dyke.
Tyler Van Dyke, the two double last name. I know that they're without him. Braden Locke has not been very good. 56% completion percentage, 8 touchdowns, 8 interceptions on the season. They can't move the ball. Their defense is making some nice plays. Their run defense is porous. It's terrible. They're allowing 164.6 rush yards per game. We know what Oregon can do running the football. We know what Jordan James can do when he is in a rhythm. I see this pretty early on as a game that could get pretty ugly if they start to establish things on the ground.
When is Oregon going to get tested again? And is it not until the Big Ten title game? I mean, I don't really know. No, I'm just meaning by anybody. Forget their schedule. I mean, like anybody that they play, there's nobody going to be on there.
Washington is their last game because they've got a bye coming up after this week.
Yeah, so again, they're not going to. And Oregon's going to want a little revenge in that game coming off a bye after what happened last year. Joe, there's one thing in this game that I'm going to be interested to see. That Wisconsin secondary has been very sticky. They're 6th in the country in pass defense. I know it's the Big Ten, but it's not like – look, man, Wisconsin gave Bama problems. Like they gave Ryan Williams some problems in the beginning of that game, and then Van Dyke went down and then kind of got blown out. But they're still 6th. It's not like that they have not been sticky at times. You're right. Their run defense is very porous. I just don't know of an avenue, okay, that an Oregon media, me saying that about Wisconsin, don't clip us again, just throwing that out there. I don't see an area or a path. I don't think that they can outcoach this team. I don't think that they can outplay this team, meaning Wisconsin to Oregon. I don't know the avenue or path that they can win this game. And this makes it a classic week for an upset. A classic time for being.
Don't.
No, I'm just saying it is. I'm not saying that, like you said earlier, that's not going to happen here. I just don't know where they can attack. The only thing that I could think is that Gabriel has an off day. This offense has an off day. They turn the ball over some, maybe. But, man, this Wisconsin team, they can't move the football. I know defensively they've been fine, and they have been fine. Their run defense has been leaky, but, Joe, their secondary has been really good. They just can't move the football, and it's unfortunate for them. I do think that they play hard, and they're a scrappy bunch now. But like you said, man, I think Oregon's going to run all over them, and it could get bad here.
Right. It does need to be given like a little bit of credit here for Wisconsin for some of the games that they've had where, I mean, they've played pretty dominantly against the back end of the Big Ten. That Iowa game has really sunk them, it feels like, because they had that stretch where they kicked the crap out of Purdue, Rutgers, and Northwestern, and everybody was starting to say going into the Penn State game, hey, maybe they pull out an upset. And they played good with Penn State for the first half, and then eventually Prabula started to cook and pulled away, and then Iowa again, they got their asses kicked. That Iowa performance, I think, is going to be indicative of what we're going to see from this Oregon team on the ground. They allowed Caleb Johnson to rush for 135. I watched the tape of that game. Caleb Johnson went off, and he had a really easy time finding rushing lanes in a very old school rushing approach where you know that he's getting the football. There is a lot of diverse ways.
They're not trying to hide it either.
Right. There's a lot of diverse ways that you're going to be able to attack this defense for Oregon. And I think that they're going to be able to produce pretty steadily. Their secondary, you mentioned, actually has been pretty good. They're only allowing 158 passing yards per game. But part of me thinks that that's an inflated number because of who they've played against. Because, like, again, I just mentioned there, they went against Rutgers, who doesn't throw the ball. They went against Northwestern, who doesn't throw the ball. They went against Iowa, who we know for damn sure doesn't throw the ball. So maybe they'll have an easier time than some people would project if they're just looking at that
very
number
fair.
casually.
That's very fair. That can happen. I just, in my mind, though, and I know it's Jalen Milroe, whatever, when they gave them, like, you got to go back and watch that film.
It was like a quarter, though. I did watch that film. I broke that down because Jalen Milroe cooked the shit out of them.
Well, and I get that, but Joe, they were getting their asses whooped because in the first half, didn't they have like 4, 5, 6 straight 3-and-outs? Like, it was bad. Like, they were on the field a lot until Alabama was like, all right, we're just going to run the ball, we'll play a little defense, whatever. And they got out of there. I mean, I get what you're saying. That wide receiver core and Dylan Gabriel, though, again, Joe, he's in my Heisman conversation. I don't know why he's not getting more Heisman love. It's not going to be the week, though, for Oregon, man. It just really, really, really isn't going to be the week. At least I don't think for them. Joe, I will throw this out there, though. If there is a chink in the Oregon armor, third down defense maybe a little?
Why? What's their third down percentage allowed? I don't know off the top of my head.
Well, it's not a bad percentage. They're 30th in the country in third down defense. If a guy can run on them a little, which I don't think can happen here, kind of hadn't been able to stop it a little.
Yeah, I'm not. See, that's the thing that I always keep coming back to with Oregon is I feel like we have to nitpick.
No, you know why? Because if we come out here and say a team gets blown out, okay, or a team's going to get blown out, you come in here and say when that team loses, oh, see, these guys don't know anything, and you go back to old videos.
Right, but to what we're saying here, they're incredibly balanced. They are super, super balanced for everything that we keep bringing this up on a week-to-week basis. The balance shows up in their success. They're not going to get challenged to the Big Ten championship game. They're not, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, it's a good thing that you can finish the year undefeated. They're probably going to be the only team that finishes the year undefeated unless something crazy happens with that Washington game.
Yeah, I mean,
BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.